Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we apologize. Something happened. The stream just turned itself off. But currently we have on track Alan Hugo leading the way through the first lap with Ryan right on his heels. And BRL Williams not far behind. But if you look behind him, BRL Perandi currently has two McLarens hunting it down that are right on his gearbox. You can see as they constantly up into that chicane. Now making the run out of the corner down this DRS straight, but DRS is not available yet. So some of these guys really hoping that DRS comes online very soon so that they can start making moves, because Perandi is slowly falling out of DRS range of BRL Williams out in front of him.
So far we have a mix of at least tire strats at the start of this race, with most of the guys opting for the softer strategy, soft tires. 4 guys on the mediums and only 2, Chandler and Meanford, on the hard tire. As Bureau Namer collects a 3-second time penalty, which I believe that's the first one for this race.
Yep, so Sparky, as we all know him, those of us drivers that have been racing around here for years, we all know him as Sparky that used to be his GT. But BRL Neymar takes the trophy for being the first one to get a time penalty, but he's currently fighting Chandler Cieda for that 12th position. Chandler on the hard compound tires should be at a bit of a disadvantage here in the beginning stages of this race, as BRL Neymar is on the soft compound behind him. Deer Hunter on mediums in last, currently 1 second off of the driver in front, who is Meanford. Oh, and number 1 Fin Fan, we've got our first spinner of the race. Number 1 Fin Fan looks like he's lost it on an exit of 9, which is easy to do. You watch out to that outside curbing. It's very easy to lose rear grip and spin out. So not surprised that that's happened. He's fallen all the way back to last. It's unfortunate for him. Back up at the front, it's 1 second, 1.3 second, separating the top 3 now as fastest lap time of the race. That Haas looks like it is a great handling car right now, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely it does. I'm over here on board with... I'm over here just hopped on board with the battle for P8, 9, or P7, 8, and 9.
Yeah, we got Hoopalicious in the Red Bull just in front of Jared. Jared got disqualified. Remember, he was disqualified from qualifying due to something that happened. He started this race in dead last. He's already worked his way up to 8th, so big moves from the Mercedes driver early on. But now this Mercedes driver is in DRS range, and Hoopalicious is range of the car in front of him. DRC Jared's going to open up DRS. You'll see that flap. There it goes. It's open, and now he tries to get the run on the Red Bull, and he is going to do so, and he's going to pass him cleanly before they even make it to the braking zone. So good move by Jared. Now up into the top 7 as B-Dunk has now picked up a 3-second time penalty. And B-Dunk fighting with BRL Perandi. Oh, look at that move! B-Dunk swerving heavily, trying to get by BRL Perandi, but he's getting held up.
Just riding on board with the 2, I do believe B-Dunk also has wing damage on his right side for end plate. So that could be problematic on B-Dunk's end, with Jared right behind him on the medium tires.
Yeah, and Jared really showing pace here in the beginning. All these guys that he's racing around, except are on the soft. They should have the advantage, but it would seem that's not the case right now, as B-Dunk's currently being hounded by Jared at every braking zone they enter. Not much has changed at the front. Alan and Hugo still 5/10 out in front of Ryan, and BRL Williams just behind him. Oh, as Perandi and B-Dunk both decide it's time to box. That gives Jared some clean air out in front of him. He now has 2.5 seconds between him and Ginger Horizon. But how about this race? The first 6 laps of this race by Jared have been immense. He's currently all the way up 9 positions, yes, 9 positions from where he started this race. So, I'm sorry, that's just amazing.
Definitely, especially around this track. First 3 laps of no DRS, and all the technical chicanes, what's almost a street circuit too.
It really does have that street
circuit.
Yeah, it does have that street circuit feel to it. It's to me, this track's harder to navigate than what Baku is. You know, we just left the Azerbaijan Grand Prix last week, and I found that track more easy to negotiate this year than what this track is. You know, we've been coming to this layout since 1996. A lot of us that are in BRL have all been racing this layout together since 2017, when we were all in another league together before we branched off and started BRL. And a lot of us were in contact today saying this is the hardest it's ever been to race around the Canadian Grand Prix circuit layout. It seems like they've changed up turns 13 and 14 quite a bit. It seems like they've brought that wall of champions a little closer to the exit of that chicane, because to be honest, everything about turns 13, 14 and that chicane just seems so much harder to navigate this year.
Yeah, I do also believe, at least with the navigation, but also with getting traction down, especially going through turns 1, 2, pretty much all of Sector 1 and going into Sector 2.
Well, we could have a fight here. We could have a fight here for the lead. Ryan is just off the gearbox of Hugo, but Hugo deploying overtake at a very smart time. That shouldn't keep him out in front. Yes, it does. But Hugo dives off into pit lane. This now promotes Ryan up into first. And BRL Williams has gone to the pit lane as well. So now it's a Mercedes 1-2. And how about that? 7 laps after this race has begun, Jared goes from dead last to running second. How amazing. But he's got company. Hoopalicious has not fallen off the gearbox of this car. He followed him all the way up to second and third place. Let's see how far these two go into this race. Will these two try to take these tires as far as they possibly can and bolt on a set of hards, or possibly go even deeper and bolt on a set of softs and one-stop this race?
Don't really think the one-stop is that optimal with the soft to mediums, but I do believe the medium to hards will make it. Knowing some of the other guys that did start on the softs that jumped to mediums, they might be doing another stop, going for the 2-stop of this race.
Yep, Chandler on the hard compound tire. He's just caught up to the back of Mextalo in the Aston Martin Red Bull, and now it looks like the Alfa Romeo is going to have a great run going down the straightaway. Heading down Casino Straight. Very easy pass made by Chandler with that DRS assistance. So Chandler now promoting himself up to 4th place. Can Chandler run these tires, let's say, out to about lap 24, maybe 25, get in that window of boxing for the soft compound, or you think that's just out of the question? Everybody's going to either go medium to hard, or hard, medium, or 2-stop this race?
It's definitely doable with the hards, but as soon as you get past lap 20, they just get really scrubbed, and finding traction or trying to lock them up is just asking for a puncture at that point. But depending on the driver, if they can manage their tires, it's doable. Just very risky.
Well, we did see one driver here last year, I believe, and correct me in chat if I'm wrong, guys, but I believe Maverick did very well in this race last year, and he finished this race having a puncture out of the final chicane, because he one-stopped this race last year from softs to mediums, and he had a puncture on the left rear on exit of turn 14, and he still was able to limp that car across and finish in the top 5. Or actually, I think he won this race last year with that amazing tire strat that he had. So we could see anything happen at this point. And now Ryan has decided it was time for him to pit. He has now left pit lane, which promotes his teammate DRC Jared up to first, but let's see how this merge goes as there's a huge battle behind Ryan. Ryan merges into traffic out in 4th place with a huge battle and a huge train of cars behind him. Ginger Horizon leading that with Mean Fern right behind him on the hard tires that he started this race on. He's going to get passed, excuse me, by the Renault of BRL Pirandi, and not far behind him is Alan Hugo. Alan Hugo is going to get a great run, and it might give BRL Williams a chance. BRL Williams sticks his nose in, but he decides better of it. Good for him. He's going to have plenty of time to get down this straightaway.
Yeah, this definitely is going to come. Yeah, this is definitely going to come into play for New Zealand Ryan, as I do believe Hugo and Williams are both fighting for that 3rd position, if not Chandler, depending on what his strategy plays.
Yeah, I think right now the whole podium is up for grabs because we're not sure of where anybody is going to end up now. Oh, as Williams, BRL Williams, one of the podium contenders, has just gotten into the wall. He got into the wall of champions there on exit of 14 onto the front straightaway, the start-finish straight, a wall that has ruined so many races for so many different drivers of all skill levels across all different types and different forms of racing and motorsport. But BRL Williams seems to have recovered very well. He's going along, still running his usual rate of speed, but Mean Fern, unfortunately, on that harder tire, looks like he's going to start falling off. He's made his way up to 9th with the strategy that he's running, but on that harder compound tire, he maybe should have pushed a little harder there in the beginning to try to work his way toward the front. But back up toward the front, it's a fight for first because Hoopalicious, as I had said, has not left the gearbox of Jared. He's still right there. Both of these guys doing an amazing job to hold the other. Jared with a little bit of breathing space going into 1. They now enter Senna. And look at how good the Red Bull is through the center of the turn, but Jared able to pull off the corner a little bit sooner, which gives him a good run down that short chute to 3 and 4.
As there's the yellow flags in the second turn, I believe
Pirandi
and Hugo made contact going into 1 and 2.
I think B-Dunk might have been involved in that as well. Let's look forward. We're right on board with Pirandi. We'll look back. It does look to me like the McLaren running in 9th has front wing damage. Oh, and he gets a little bit of oversteer there. He might be dealing with an issue. So B-Dunk, one of our fastest qualifiers, might be dealing with an issue with this car now. Pirandi, B-Dunk, Hugo, Horizon, all of those drivers, all 4 of them were in a closely condensed group. So it doesn't surprise me that they finally had an issue. Somebody ran out of talent at some point. This is one of the closest battles on track as B-Dunk now tries to catch back up to Pirandi, and Pirandi trying to catch up to Mean Fern. But it looks like B-Dunk's got a big run. He's right next to him, and they're going to try to outbrake each other. Oh, and they make contact. Oh, and B-Dunk's going to spin out. B-Dunk and Pirandi make contact into the corner. Pirandi, did he leave enough space? Did B-Dunk outbrake himself? That'll be something for the stewards to decide, not us. But it does look like there was quite a bit of contact going into that corner. It looked like B-Dunk got into the side pod of Pirandi, so we'll have to see. B-Dunk has decided to carry on. So I can't see if he has any wind damage. It doesn't look like it from my perspective, but we'll keep you apprised on that situation as Pirandi's now all over the back of Mean Fern. He's now on driver's left. Will he try? Yes, look at that outbraking maneuver. He's trying to make around the outside, and he's going to make that stick. A beautiful move by Pirandi around the outside of Mean Fern in the hairpin. A beautiful job, a beautiful drive. And now Jared has finally gone to pit lane, and he put on another set of mediums. So he has committed to the 2-stop. We will see him jumping on a set of softs around lap 25 to 26. Possibly pushing it out to 27. What do you think, Phantom?
I believe the optimal strategy for the softs is around 7 to 8 laps on them. So we probably will see him about 27 to 28. He hops it.
Well, he exits pit lane, rejoins the circuit just in front of BRL Pirandi, which is great for Jared's race. This is really going to help him out. He needs to keep the momentum going. He got his Mercedes well up the order, starting dead last. He made his way all the way up to second. I think he actually he did lead the race for just a little bit. But now we should see Hoopalicious coming in pretty soon. Hoop started on this pair of softs that he's on. Will he be making a beeline to pit lane this time by? Let's see. Yes, he is going to the pit lane, so let's see what tire he puts on. We'll look around at Chandler as he goes down the front straight. We'll wait to hear from Phantom as to what tire the Hoop goes on. We'll wait to hear from Phantom about that strategy call. And Chandler now on his hard compound tires that he started this race on is out in the lead, but he's got Ryan right behind him. Ryan on that brand new set of tires doing very well to command his own race. Everybody else that started up front with him has had issues this race. Alan Hugo all the way down in 13th as he has just boxed for a new set of hards. And down to Phantom. Phantom, what tire did Hoopalicious decide to go with?
Hoopalicious decided to go on to the hard tire, which I presume he's going to want to take those all the way to the end of the race.
So him now being on the hard compound tire as we ride on board with him, he's catching up to the back of BRL Pirandi. So he's on the hard compound tire, so everybody else in front of him still has to pit, whereas he does not. How much pace are those hard compound tires going to hold as this race develops? That's the big question here. How much pace is he going to be able to extract out of those tires before they begin to give up? Because there's still 20 laps to go in this race. So that's a long time to sit on this one set of tires.
But definitely the tires, hard tires around here, take at least about 2 to 3 laps for them to heat up. But once they do, they don't really fall off until those last 2 laps towards the end of the race. The hard tires are the more consistent ones around here, while the mediums do have their pace. About after lap 12 is when they start to fall off.
Well, back up at the front, we got another race for the lead. Ryan is caught up to Chandler, and it looks like Ryan's going to try to make a move down this straightaway. Ryan not having a lot of overtake left in the battery, but he gets on the brakes very well and drags his foot into the braking zone, allowing him to get more energy into that battery store. But here we go. He's got a run, a big run, and he's going to make that move down the straightaway rather easily. Chandler not able to cope with it at all. But Chandler might have known that there was no way to hold him up. He was on the fresher tire. He had the much better pace. Do you think Chandler probably just let him through so that way Chandler could focus on his own pace?
I have a feeling that's what Chandler's doing. He didn't want to hold himself up and just wanted to stay within New Zealand Ryan and grab the DRS from him.
Yeah, but the question now stands, can he keep up with the Mercedes? He's already almost a second behind him, and they've only made it through the first sector, so I don't think that's going to happen. I think Chandler's going to slowly lose sight of this Mercedes that's in front of him. But BRL Williams in the Racing Point is not far behind his quarry either. Oh, as we see him get into the wall, but he's not far behind Ginger Horizon. He's catching up to Ginger. He's now within 0.6 of a second. Let's see how he does. He negotiates 8 and 9 very well, almost putting that front wing off in the wall. But he's got DRC Jared right behind him, and Jared on that fresher compound. Very late on the brakes is Jared. Jared, one of those drivers that's basically one of the Daniel Ricciardos of our league, now finds himself behind Williams. Will he be able to make a move on him? He's got a great run, and they almost touch wheels as they run down the straightaway. Oh, and he tries to, what's going on here? Oh, BRL Williams has decided to box. It looked to me like that was going to be very close if they both tried to enter that corner. Wouldn't have been able to be judged at that split second of whose corner that really was. But BRL Williams going with a set of hard compound tires and a new wing. So he must have hit the wall there on exit of, on the exit of the 3 and 4 chicane. So that's not good for him. That really hurts his race. He had great pace today. And who's that in the pits behind him? That's going to be BRL Pirandi, has also boxed for a set of hard compound tires. So big strategy shakeups here. They started on softs, did they not? So they went soft, medium, and now they're both on hards. I wonder if these were both unscheduled pit stops, Phantom.
They probably made a last-minute call, especially with their wing damage. So no, easily just having end plate damage around here, you can easily lose half a 10. So they probably just wanted to change up their strategy, go on the hards, and kind of do their own race all the way to the end.
And Chandler has now decided to go into the pit lane. So we'll keep you apprised as to what happens with him. We're back out on the front straightaway with Ginger Horizon in the McLaren and DRC Jared in the Mercedes, as Jared's currently haunting the back of the McLaren's gearbox.
And it does look like Chandler squeezes himself just in front of V-Dunk, which works well for him. Because Chandler can take these tires all the way to the end, while everyone else that isn't on hards has to pit again to make it to the end.
Yeah, and the only driver out in front of Chandler that can make it to the end comfortably, in my opinion, is Hoopalicious. And I don't think Jared can carry his mediums because he started on mediums, so he ran for a set of softs. But we'll have to wait and see as that develops. Let's see if Chandler can shrink the gap. It's currently almost 6.5 seconds up the road to Hoopalicious. So we'll have to see if Chandler starts to feed into that, and if he can catch up to Hoop. Will he be able to make the pass? Oh, as B-Dunk takes off a large portion of his wing. You can see it there on the screen as it floats down the front straightaway. So B-Dunk now going to have to box for a new front wing, as it looks like he's removed the right front end fence, and he might have taken a few tertiary flaps along with it. And Mean Fern gets the long stint award for the day. He took his hard compound tires from the start of this race all the way to end lap 19. So he is now on the mediums. He has one stop this race. He comes back out of the pit lane in 12th. So a decent strategy by Mean Fern to try to promote himself up the running order. And BRL Neymar down here in 14th has Deer Hunter right behind him. Both these drivers seem to be struggling today, but Deer Hunter looks like he is closing up to the back of Namor, so we could soon see a fight for the final position. But back up toward the front, DRC Jared is still all over the back of Ginger Horizon. He has not left the gearbox of this McLaren. I'm starting to wonder, I really would have thought that DRC Jared could have made the pass by now. Do you think that he knows that Ryan and Ginger both have to box again, so he's not going to force the issue here?
I have a feeling the reason why he hasn't made the pass is he does have right end plate damage. Could have been either from turn 4, as we just saw, or either on the exit of turn 9 or Wall Champions.
Oh yeah, it does look like he is missing that right front end plate, so huge implications for Jared, as Jared is still trying to make a move on Horizon, but he's hampered. Every time he has to turn the wheel, he is hampered by missing that right front end fence. But we see him get right up to the gearbox. He could get it this time. He's very close, but Horizon, great traction on exit of the corner. This is going to be close. This is going to be close. The McLaren goes defensive. But the McLaren's able to hold on one more time. He holds back DRC Jared, but here soon, we should start to see Ginger Horizon peel in for a new set of tires. He's been on these tires for 15 laps now, as Chandler's just set the new fastest lap of the race. And speaking of Chandler, Chandler has brought down the gap between himself and Hoopalicious by 3 seconds. So he is catching the Red Bull, but for how much longer will his tires last?
It also comes into play that Hoop is catching on the guys in front too. So if I was DRC Jared, I'd definitely either want to hop onto hards or either try to just wait it out and go for the softs to the end.
Yep, and Jared at the hairpin again, following Horizon into it. He's very close to him, and they both get a very decent exit. But Jared finally got the drive that he needed, and he's on the button, and he is gone. So Jared has now promoted himself to P2. Will he be able to drive away as now Ginger Horizon decides it's time for me to box?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be questionable if Jared's going to be able to pull away with that wing damage, as his tires are on 9 laps, while Hoop just sitting on 8 lap old hards, which is kind of the perfect area for those hards.
Yeah, the hards really start to come into their prime. What would you say, between probably lap 8 and that'll last till about lap 14 or 15, where you get 5 or 6 good, great feeling laps out of those tires, and everybody else is starting to struggle with theirs or having to box for new ones. So I agree, Hoopalicious is sitting in a great spot right now.
I'd definitely say around lap 5 to 6 is when the mediums get into their comfy position. Because at least for the drivers, it takes a while to get the heat in those tires. And then after that, you're just kind of consistently running those all the way until probably 20 laps.
Well, and speaking of drivers who are on mediums waiting for them to come into their beautiful window, Chandler has been on his for 4 laps, and he just took 2 seconds out of Hoopalicious in the last lap and a half. Chandler on a huge push right now to catch the Red Bull. But how long will the Red Bull hold him up as Chandler sets a new fastest lap of the race? That's a bonus point that he'd love to have at the end of this session. But how familiar is this in real life or in BRL? Mercedes, Red Bull. It's too often.
It's definitely
too often.
Very familiar.
It's too often that we see these 3 cars running at the front. Even in BRL, these 3 cars are of dominant fashion. Looks like he's on a great tire strategy. He's now within a second of Hoopalicious in front of him. He's probably going to be able to make this move pretty easily down the casino straight.
Yeah, it's definitely going to come into play around who gets the better traction out of the hairpin. Because if Hoop can hold him off and cover the inside, then Chandler will most likely not be able to make a move going into the championship game.
Well, Chandler electing to go to driver's left. He's got the move made before they even make it to the braking zone. Chandler now in the podium positions. Can he hold on to it? Can he attract the attention of New Zealand Ryan, who's currently going through pit lane, heading toward pit exit? Chandler's now promoted himself up to second. I think that might be a safe second place for Chandler for sure. Not sure yet if Jared is going to box again, but I don't think that his tires are going to make it the rest of the way. Jared on 11-lap-old mediums already. There's still 11 laps to go in this race. So he would have to finish this race with 22-lap-old mediums. I'm sorry, I don't see that happening. Not with the tire model we have this year.
I'm pretty sure those mediums will only make it 18 laps at best. And with his wing damage, he's definitely going to have to go into the pits.
And what does he do when he goes into pit lane? Does he tell the team to put a new wing on it, or does he tell the team to not worry about it? What would you do if you were in his position?
If I was in his position, I'd definitely change the wing, because you're easily losing a tenth of a second, if not even 5/10, depending on how worn your tires are. So losing that 5 seconds in the pits, you can easily gain back on those softs.
Well, Chandler seems to be catching it rather quickly, but the driver that just came out of pit lane, Ryan, in the Mercedes, is on that soft compound tire. He's on his first true lap on these tires now. Remember, he just came out of pit lane last time around. So as he makes his way around this lap, we're probably going to see purple sectors from the Mercedes driver easily pushing this car now as the fuel load gets lighter. The kilograms are burning off. Yes, he has purpled sector 1. Looks like he's going to purple sector 2, carrying so much speed on exit of that chicane. It's really amazing to watch some of these drivers as they round this circuit. Jared now about to exit Sector 2. He's coming up to the timing line, and he will purple Sector 2. Oh, no, he didn't. He did purple Sector 2. That's strange. I really would have thought he would have. Unless Aus Formula, who also just boxed for a set of soft compound tires, just set the purple time. But out in front, it would seem to me that DRC Jared is losing time. Oh, and now he's pitted. So now
the real question is going to be the top 3 drivers. Because I know New Zealand RYAN, these softs only make it around probably about 5 laps before they start falling off.
Yeah, the softs really do get ate up around here. That's one of the big factors at this track. This track eats tires. If they brought softer compounds than what we have now, this would be an easy 2-stop race no matter what tire you started on. If you started on the softs, it might even become a 3-stop race, just depending on the other 2 compounds.
Yeah, if New Zealand RYAN wants to lock out that pole position, he's going to have to make a move within these next few laps around Hoopy and Chandler.
Yep, and now Jared has just made the move on not the Williams, but BRL Williams. He just made the move on him while he's on his softs, but he is currently 7.5 seconds behind Ginger Horizon and McLaren out in front of him. So I don't think we're going to see Jared really promote himself throughout the rest of this race unless Hoopalicious or Chandler have an issue on their older tires. Now I say older because they're older than everybody else around them. In usual circumstances, we wouldn't say that 9-lap-old mediums or 13-lap-old hard compound tires are very old, but we might see it in this point, as it looks like Chandler is now catching up to the back of BRL Neymar. Yeah, he's lapping BRL Neymar and Deer Hunter. So both of these drivers not having the greatest race that they wanted. Both of them said that they were going to struggle this weekend at this track. But look at Deer Hunter. Deer Hunter's been on these hard compound tires for 20 laps. He's going to take them to the end from here. He has to, if he wants to retain this 14th position. And Neymar's been on his tires for 12 laps.
And as we were on board with them, New Zealand RYAN made a move on the inside going into the hairpin around Hoopalicious. So now New Zealand RYAN is past Hoopalicious and has to catch up to Chandler. Also has to deal with the 2 cars battling for last place here.
Yeah, now Ryan has to negotiate this ghost car traffic as he makes his way through the traffic rather easily. It looked like he was really not all that hindered. And would you look at that? BRL Williams has just gone into the pit lane. What has happened to the Racing Points this weekend? Unfortunate turn of events for both of them. One of them having to deal with the struggle of not being allowed to qualify due to a suspension. And now it would seem that BRL Williams either feels like he had not enough pace in those 10-lap-old hards or just decided that, screw it, I'm going to go in. I'm not quite sure what the thought process was there unless he had some sort of wing damage found.
Yeah, I'm thinking wing damage is a factor why he wanted to go in. Because if I was a driver and I was on hards with wing damage, I'd say, screw it, might as well box now, get a new wing, new softs, and get that extra point for fastest lap. Go to the end.
Well, now we've got a pretty big battle going on here between 6th, 7th, and 8th. BRL Brandi in 8th, Meanfern in 7th, and Hugo in 6th. All of them really just running a train down the casino straight. But Pirandi, I just watched him have a huge lockup into the hairpin. Really seemed like he was struggling under braking. Somebody brings up a very good point in chat, Phantom. Why don't we start to look at penalties and see who all has what within the top 5?
Of course, I was about to mention that too. With our 5 laps to go, penalties, especially around here, can definitely mix up the entire grid.
Yeah, like we said earlier on in the broadcast, this is the track in all of BRL Motorsports that everybody knows when you come here, the penalties are the deciding factor because usually penalties decide the podium when we come here, to be honest. In the past 3 years that we've been racing BRL, every time we have come here, we have had penalties decide. So if they don't decide, if they don't play a factor this time on the podium, it'll be a new record.
So I believe just looking at penalties so far, the top 2 guys are clean. They have warnings, but no penalties. Hooplicious has, I believe, 6 seconds of penalties with 2 warnings under his name.
Well, if he currently has 6 seconds of penalties, that puts him 1 second in the clear from Ginger Horizon. But Ginger Horizon, does he have penalties?
He has 1 penalty and a warning, so that puts him clear for podium position. On board with Jared. Jared also has 1 penalty and 2 warnings. And Hugo only has 1 penalty. So see, most of these guys either have 1 to 2 penalties right now. One thing that could definitely mix up these top 3 drivers, because I know they have multiple warnings, no penalties. It could potentially mix up the podium positions. This looks like Mean Fern locks up going into turn 1 and 2 battling, which allows Hugo and Pirani to get around.
Yeah, I don't know if Mean Fern just had an issue there or if he just completely missed the braking zone, but he went flying off the track in turn 1. Completely just missed the Senna turn 2. So unfortunate for Mean Fern, but I did want to talk about Mean Fern. He just picked up a penalty from that, unfortunately, but he was doing so well after running his hard compound tires all the way out to lap 20, or excuse me, 19, and boxing for these mediums, and now trying to take these mediums the rest of the way to the end. Now BRL Pirani's all up the back of Alan Hugo. Could this turn into a battle? Excuse me. Could this turn into a battle for 6th?
Just reading the chat, all of you might be having mic issues, just FYI.
No, it's usually whoever. It's usually
or
whoever.
The connection. But I do believe, at least with Mean Fern locking up into turn 1, it could be him just under pressure with his older tires and the Hugo and also Pirani behind him. That could be an issue why he completely missed the turn 1 and decided to lock up and just let the other 2 drivers by. But as we go on forward with Chandler coming to the finish line, it's going to be 2 more laps until the end of the race for BRL Tier 1 Grand Prix Canadian GP.
Yeah, and it would really seem that the front 3 are decided just due to how much space is between all of them. I really want to focus on this battle between Ginger Horizon and McLaren and Mercedes and Jared just behind him as he almost touches his gearbox with the nose cone of the Mercedes. Very close to making contact there. But these 2 drivers have really been going at it.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely these top 3 guys have been battling almost the entire race. But we also see
It is the final lap of the race as we see Chandler making his way down to the final chicane. So he comes through the final chicane, avoids the wall of champions, and he's going to become the champion of the Canadian Grand Prix with a beautiful one-stop victory. Hards to mediums was the winning strat today, with NZL RYAN starting second place, and he's going to finish in second place. Unfortunate for Ryan that his idea did not pan out. Ginger Horizon looks like he might have caught the wall on exit of the chicane. We'll ride along with Alan Hugo, see if we can see a stricken McLaren anywhere. Yes, the McLaren stricken on the front straightaways. So it's really unfortunate for him, but Alan Hugo comes across in 5th, VRL Perandi right behind him in 6th. Meadburn comes home in 7th with Aus Formula 8. BRL Williams will bring it home in 9th place as we see the Force India now, the Racing Point now cross the line. Mextalo, didn't really talk about him much, but he took his tires 21 laps to finish this race. So Mextalo, kudos to you and Red Bull for that amazing strategy call to bring home 10th place. Number 1 Finn fan brings his Alfa Romeo home. Oh my goodness, as he just eats the wall. And B-Dunk does the same, but Deer Hunter, I do believe, brought home the longest stint of the day. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think he did 29 laps on his hard compound tires. But Chandler Cieta, your winner for the day, with a beautiful one-stop strategy to go from the back to the very front. And a beautiful podium we have, an Alfa Romeo on the top, with a Mercedes in second and a Red Bull bringing it home in third. But how many times this year have we seen Hoopalicious, Hoopalicious finish in third, and he just seems to stay there. He doesn't seem to be able to break the Mercedes momentum and get to the front and actually win.
I mean, it's definitely good for him being consistent for his third places, but knowing Hoop, I have a feeling he definitely wants more than just sitting on P3, but it's a podium, so if I was him, I'd be happy just to get a podium. I will invite the guys so we can continue with our podium positions.
So after this amazing race, there you have it, folks. Everybody came across the line to finish except for, I believe we did have one actual DNF. Yes, BRL Neymar disqualified, and if I'm not mistaken, that's going to be for the amount of time penalties that he incurred in the Haas. So unfortunate for Haas that they lost out on points. B-Dunk finishes this race with 27 seconds of penalties. So like we've said time and time again, Canada is one of those tracks where it will rear its head and bite you every chance it gets. But Chandler, your winner, Ryan in in second, Hoopalicious in third, Jared in fourth, and Alan Hugo rounds out the top 5 with a couple of great finishes for Mercedes AMG Petronas. Mercedes looking very good this year, unless they have just that little bit of an off day today like they had. So we'll look here in the party. We have Ryan and Hoopalicious here. We're just waiting for I believe
the only other one.
Well, Chandler might be
he told me at the invite.
Well, he might be off doing something else. We all know how he's so important.
I do believe Williams was able to pick off the fastest lap right before we backed out, so he will be getting that extra point for today's race.